Ta-da, Arnie.
Oh.
Look, Arnie. There he
Hi,
is.
Arnie.
There
Oh.
he is.
You're so
There.
handsome.
Yes.
Hello, son of a peeps.
Hey, cinema peeps.
Oh my goodness. More.
It's that summer weather, the sunny days.
That's too warm. Anywho's pickle. I don't know if you know, because I barely knew myself that Comic-Con happened this past week.
Yes. This past weekend, and yeah, is it only the weekend? I guess it is only the weekend that it happened.
I think
right?
so. It's just, I don't know. It's so weird to me because normally, like, I feel like I'm on top of that, and this year I was like, oh,
It happened? Yeah.
it came and gone. All
Right?
right then.
I feel like I would have seen. You think you would have seen more about it than I did. The only reason I
Yes.
knew about it was because Zachary Levi was there and he was promoting the new Shazam movie that's coming out, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. They released the trailer, and
Yes.
yeah, they were doing like a bunch of press stuff. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, and yeah, I was thinking I'd see more
Yeah.
stuff from other people, but it was very quiet online.
Again, I only knew because the actress who plays Lois in Superman and Lois had some like kind of like getting ready for Comic-Con, getting ready for like you said, like doing press
Yeah.
type things. So like getting ready ritual kind of thing. And then one guy from Legends, because I think he was hosting some panels and stuff. But yeah, it was otherwise like very quiet.
Yeah.
Or I was just oblivious the entire time. Oh, goodbye, Arnie.
Bye, Arnie. Yeah, he's going to sit in the hall now.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't like actively looking, and now that like I think about it, I probably should have before we started recording. But yeah, no, I thought for sure I would see more than I did. So
I mean, to
I'll
be
have
fair,
take a look.
maybe there was more like announcement type things because I did watch a compilation of kind of like the main trailers that came out.
Oh yeah.
But I know like a lot of projects were announced, but like that's the kind of thing, right? Like they're announced, but like there's like that's that. Like they have
Yeah.
a title thing and that is that.
Yeah, well, and I was wondering too, because like you'd think in the past, a lot of the like trailers and announcements that they would make were like majority of the superhero type things, but now that like DC has their own kind of Comic-Con-esque, or at least they had like the fandom thing. I don't know if they're going to continue
Yeah.
that now that pandemic's over, but everything kind of moved over there. So I was like, the only thing that I knew about was the Shazam trailer. So, but I mean, technically that's DC too, so I don't know.
No, absolutely.
Very
Yeah,
blindsided by the whole thing.
Right? I mean, they did also have one for Black Adam as well.
Yes.
Oh, there was a trailer for Wakanda Forever, which
Yes. I did see that article saying that it was going to be a thing.
yes, the trailer came out and it looks very cool.
I'll
Granted,
have
it
to
was
watch
very much like a hype trailer. Like it's
yeah.
long, but it's definitely like hype and like one of those ones you might have to like dissect to see if there's like, because like as I think if you just watched it, like I don't know what the story's about.
Oh, okay.
It just seems like it's
It's like
Wakanda.
a get ready. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. And like probably I think a big part will be a celebration of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And then I believe the last shot is of somebody in the Panther suit, but we have no idea who.
Oh.
They were showing some like water birth, I guess. This lady was giving birth underwater, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but you know,
Okay.
I know it's a thing that does happen. And then they keep showing like a trailer of a guy's back, and there's like another one of like, I know it sounds confusing. And then there's one of like a small child, so I'm wondering if this is kind of like the same character we're seeing.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe he's the new Panther, or he could potentially be a villain. Because I know a lot of people were thinking his sister would take up the mantle, because I guess she has done in the comics. But like I said, maybe unless you're a little more and have more knowledge, I think as like I said, the trailer is pretty fire, but it's I like I said, I can't tell you what the story is because I don't even know. I am just purely speculating of what it could potentially be.
Okay.
But a lot of cool shots.
Nice.
Lots and lots of cool shots.
Well, I mean, just to kind of like keep on the subject, but change it a little bit. I did watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh, and
Have
what
you
did you
seen it
think?
yet?
I have, yes.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about it. Mainly just because I don't know if I was just not like in the right mindset for a Marvel movie, and it was like late at night when I was watching it. I was like, well, I haven't seen it yet. I'll just throw it on. But also too, I feel like I agree. I'm kind of like, now that I've watched it, I'm like remembering what you said in a previous episode of our podcast where you were like, I think I'm kind of like marveled out for a while. So I feel like that's kind of how I felt watching it. Don't get me wrong, like it was really cool, like all the effects are really neat and the worlds that they create. I just, yeah, unless the whole idea was like to make you confused as to what was going on throughout the whole thing, I just really, it was like, yeah, it was kind of a random story that I didn't quite follow. I wasn't like quite as into it.
No, yeah, I remember walking out just kind of being like, huh. Like, I just remember feeling so excited for it, and then just walking out just, yeah, feeling this like, huh. Like, maybe I just expected a lot more from it than what it delivered.
Well, and it was coming off the heels of No Way Home, too. And so maybe that's why I was kind of just like, meh about it, because No Way Home just set the bar so high. And obviously, like, nothing, that kind of chapter's done for now, so it's not like anything's going to really bleed into the next film, other than, like, you know, he did mention that he's like, the last thing I did facing the multiverse was with Spider-Man. You know who Spider-Man is, right? Like, there's a whole conversation he has with the girl, but, like, I wasn't sure who this girl was. I feel like her character just kind of, like, didn't really make... I mean, I know, like, her powers and stuff kind of had purpose to the whole, like, multiverse aspect of the movie, but it was just, like, she kind of came in randomly. It didn't really have much other purpose than to be, like, this tool for them to use. And that's just how I kind of saw it. And then, really, like, Wanda was the best part of the whole thing. Like, Elizabeth Olsen did a great job as a villain. Like, holy...
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, there was so many shots, too, like, when they're having the first face-off at the temple, and she, like, kind of, like, comes in behind that guy and, like, whispers, like, run or something. Like, I gotta give props to Sam Raimi, who also did this, like, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
True.
But,
and
like...
he did the, sorry to interrupt you, he did the Evil Dead movie as well.
So that's where you had
so there's a lot of,
Bruce
like,
Campbell.
horror aspects and, like, that kind of darker, spooky vibe in this, so I got that.
Right, which was, I thought, very cool, especially for Wanda. Although the scene with when they're running away, it's him, Christina, America, and they're running away from Elizabeth Olsen in the water tunnels or whatever underneath the Illuminati building. And there was just that really long scene where it got to the point where I was like, this is like too long. Like, I get we're trying to build suspense, but this is now too long. You should have cut this ages ago. And
right?
And it kind of goes to, like, every character's face, and then the tube, and then everybody again, and then the tube. And I was like, okay, no.
I definitely picked up on that too. Yeah.
Someone should have cut this. I was like, I remember, like, that definitely took me out of the movie. I was just watching this, like, okay, no, this, you should have cut it. This is Director Sam Raimi. I have some concerns. We need to fix this.
I have some notes for you.
I have some notes. But, I mean, so, like, my parents and I, because they've been behind on the Marvel film, so we just watched Eternals, and we just watched Spider-Man, and they really would have watched Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, but I just don't feel like they really want to watch it, but, like, I just don't feel they're gonna like it, you know? Because, again, like, I think they kind of liked Spider-Man, but I feel like... You know, like, that was paying so much homage to, like, the older, like, all the Spider-Man movies. So they had all these references where me and my brother were, like, chuckling, you know, and all these payoffs. And, like, they just didn't get it because they'd never watched any of this. And, you know, and a big The big reveal in Multiverse of Madness, obviously, is Patrick Stewart as Xavier. Although I can't believe they made us rewatch his death again. Like, that is cruel and an unusual punishment. I didn't like that. I mean, it was good, but I didn't like I had to watch it again. Like, come on. It was bad enough. But again, they tease, the Fantastic Four with John Krasinski. No, it's not his name at all.
Yep, you got it. Yep.
Is it? I thought that was his office character name for a second.
No, Jim Halpert is his office name.
Okay. So him playing Reed. We had not Captain Marvel. But yeah, we had her friend come back, but right in this alternate universe, she's Captain Marvel, and then we had Peggy Carter come back, because she's Captain America, which also kind of pays off if you watch the What If cartoon,
right? Yeah,
kind of thing. So again, there's always like little things that I just don't think like they just want to sit down and enjoy a movie, and I mean, obviously, I think we all should, but like this one again has a lot of things that pay off from like other things, and again, if you watched. Even my friend, when we walked out, he's like, I feel like I should have watched WandaVision, but he didn't really watch WandaVision, so he didn't see, Wanda going through this struggle.
Right.
To becoming this villain character in so there was like, I want to see Doctor Strange, but I need to watch all these things
in order to understand what's happening. Yeah. I didn't realize how much of, like, her storyline, which, I mean, kind of sounds like, well, doy, but... I didn't realize how much of her storyline from the show was actually going to be like closed up in this film. Yeah, I just figured, oh well, she's gonna be in it, and like, cause Zena was asking too. She's like, should I watch WandaVision before I watch Doctor Strange? I'm like, I don't think you need to, but now that I've seen it, I'm like, yeah. And then too with the Wanda storyline and her, like, hers was in my opinion, I was the most invested in that. But because it was in such contrast with what was happening with Doctor Strange, I don't know, I just felt kind of like I was watching two different things at the same time. It didn't weave very well together, other than, like, the odd time that they kind of faced off. And let me just say, the zombie version of Doctor Strange was so weird.
That was very, yeah. I was like, oh.
I was like, what is happening here? Like, this is like a weird, like, Walking Dead, Pirates of the Caribbean mashup. Like, I don't know if I'm here for it. Like,
I guess my expectation seeing the Multiverse of Madness, I just thought we would see more universes, I guess. Yeah. And more versions, especially because they were leading to this thing where, Doctor Strange wants to be with Christina, but can't, that relationship kind of fizzled out. So I kind of imagined him going through multiple universes and seeing her in multiple different multiverses, and then getting those cameos from other characters as well. So the fact we kind of only just got to go to like 2, I guess maybe that's where a lot of my underwhelmingness came out, maybe. I mean, again, I appreciate, the nod, and maybe this is just simply a stepping stone for because I know they've been talking for years about rebooting Fantastic Four and X-Men into the Marvelverse as well, so maybe this is just the stepping kind of thing. For it to keep going, but I don't know. Like we were saying, I think I just found it slightly underwhelming, which is kind of sad because when I went to the theater, I ran into some friends and they were talking about how they too kind of felt that as well. Yeah. And but I guess at the same time that Everywhere and Everything had just come out as well. Right. And they said it was the better multiverse movie. And now I wish I watched it, but I'm hoping I think it's now available to buy, so I'm hoping it'll be able to stream.
I think you can rent
soon.
it on like Crave or something,
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping pretty soon I can watch that one.
Yeah.
I do like little aspects of, like, even though I'm not a horror gal, I do like that in contrast with Wanda. I think that worked really nicely.
It definitely like helped kind of like encapsulate the world that she's living in and creating for herself, and just like having seen her as that kind of like where she was in WandaVision, and we knew her as a hero beforehand, and now this is her like turn into darkness and like becoming this villain. I thought that was very well done. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, there is still like some, obviously, as we always say, there's still some good, but Yeah, left a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got super distracted because I was trying to find things they announced at Comic-Con. I don't know how I fucking missed this one. So Disney's National Treasure TV show gets a first look at a teaser trailer. I didn't see that anywhere online.
Neither did I. What? How did we miss that?
I'm hella pissed. I'm so upset.
Okay, well, clearly we'll need to do like a follow-up episode of all the things that happened at Comic-Con so that we can have a proper like
fucking
discussion about everything.
I don't know. I just can't believe YouTube did think that was important. YouTube, you should know me by now. This is so important.
But I mean, the last thing I'll say, going back to Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, it's like nothing super big, but I did like and appreciate the cameo of Bruce Campbell being, you know, that Sam Raimi was the director, and so I thought that was kind of funny.
I always find it hilarious because I went with my brother and my friend, and I don't know about my friend, but I know my brother I watched The Evil Dead with him. I guess I assumed he was more of a fan of that, but maybe he just isn't. Like, I don't know. But he's also like someone who doesn't seem to recognize actors at all. So, you know, I'm getting a big chuckle, and he's like, "Who's that guy?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, "That's Bruce Campbell." And he's like, I was like, oh my god, are you?
I mean, to be fair, I definitely had to do a double take at first because I was like, that guy looks familiar. How do I know him? And then he like did that like classic Bruce Campbell smile, and I'm like, oh, that's who that is. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I get, but I mean, to me, like, there's like, I mean, you could find lists online of like actors and actresses who could be fucking twins.
Oh yeah.
Like there's definitely like, and I mean, again, there's a lot of different people acting in, you know, either doing big movies or maybe they're just big in the TV world, you know, so there's like a lot of different actors, but I feel like there's just some that have very recognizable faces, and I feel like Bruce Campbell's just one of those guys, at least to me. Like, I just look at him, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Bruce Campbell. Like, you can't, you don't get them mixed up. You're like, oh, is that Aisha Fisher or is that Amy Adams? You know, like, there's no fucking mix up. But
yeah.
Ugh. Whatever. I just thought it was really funny. Middle of the movie, I just have to lean over. I'm like, "That's fucking Bruce Campbell, you weirdo." Fuck. Weirdo.
Yeah, that's kind of. I guess it's more of like a filmmaker, movie lover, like movie buff kind of.
I guess that's
maybe.
true.
Like, yeah.
I notice a lot of my friends sometimes they don't remember, and I'm like, how? But I guess when you're more invested
into it, then you're like, how do you not know? And they're like, I don't watch movies 24/7. I didn't go to school for this stuff. I'm sorry.
I'll still get some comments like, you haven't seen that movie? And I'm like, bro, there's so much stuff. I can't watch everything.
Right? Yeah.
Like, there's a couple, like, especially, like, older movies that I haven't seen before, and then people are like, oh, can you really call yourself a film person? I'm like, yeah, you can. You can.
Yeah, you learn.
Do you enjoy film?
Yeah.
Then you're not a film person.
You enjoy the movies that gave you inspiration and interest to want to become a filmmaker. You don't have to necessarily see all of them, but some do help in pulling reference for history and theory and story and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
so, mic drop.
Boom, mic drop. Oh, me and my friend are playing Sherlock Holmes and the Devil's Daughter right now. And there's
a video
this
game?
Yes. It's weird.
Yeah.
We've been playing a lot of mystery games lately, so we did a Hercule Poirot ABC of Murder, which was a bitch to control, and I did not like the controls for that game. Was whack. I did not like it.
Oh yeah.
And then we played the other Sherlock Holmes game I got, the Crime and Punishment, and now we're on Devil's Daughter. The point I bring this up is that there was a character named Orson Wilde, and my friend was like, is that a historical person? And I was like, I don't think so, but of course Orson made me think of Orson Welles, and then I got on the topic of talking about, you know, how he, you know, but then I couldn't remember for the life of me that the most important movie ever made in cinema, I was like blanking on it. I was like, I know it has the fucking rose thing, Rosebud, but I was like, I cannot remember. And my friend had to Google it. She goes, oh, Citizen Kane. I'm like, fucking Christ.
Yeah.
But my head was just stuck on like Birth of a Nation.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I knew that's not it, but of course,
yeah.
As we've said, my brain, once it's like in there, I'm like, fuck, it's
right?
wrong. Just move this information out. But it's like, I can't.
I mean, to be fair, we had to study a lot of classic films, so I honestly, I don't blame you for forgetting stuff. Sometimes I blank on things too. right. You were saying.
So yeah, I did a little deep little history about Orson Welles that I could remember from school. So I was kind of proud of myself. I could remember anything at all. But I mean, I don't know. I think even our teacher kind of mentioned this. Like I remember we didn't even watch, like, Birth of a Nation was like 4 hours or something, and we definitely like skimmed through it. Same with Citizen Kane. We just skimmed through it because I think that one's like 3.5 hours or something. Maybe I'm wrong. I just remember both of them were very long films, and she's like, we're not watching all of it, but I will show you the parts that are important. And we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can be like, yes, I respect that this, especially just like Orson Welles, like obviously enhanced a lot of the technology, film technology that we use obviously today. But sometimes those older films just don't hold up very well, whether, political correctness or just in general, they're just boring as tits.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, in that regard, that's where you have to like look at it from like a historical perspective and just appreciate it for that, and knowing that, like we're not saying that you have to make a film like this anymore, but it's to appreciate how far we've come as filmmakers and storytellers, and just the technology that we use and the inspiration that we take from movies like that. Because like I definitely, most people, unless you're like a really really like deep film artist type person, like you can't really sit through a movie like that, especially with the types of movies that are out nowadays, and just like our attention span's gotten shorter and stuff like that. But yeah, if you can kind of like you said, like our teacher showed us the important bits, and we still can gain an appreciation for and draw inspiration from things like that. And the movie is still referenced a lot of times in different scenarios and things, so that's what's nice about it too.
Two things can be true at the same time. It can be like, yes, this is an important piece of cinema, but yes, is it problematic? Yeah, but I mean, you look back far enough, everything is problematic. So as long as you, I mean, I don't even know what the right thing to do is. As long as you acknowledge where it comes.
Well, you have to look at it with, exactly, you have to look at it with an even keel of knowing that. It's not to expose people to something and going, oh, like, you're trying to make me think that this is how we have to do things again. It's like, well, no, like, you think about like Birth of a Nation, for example. Think about when that movie was created and what was actually available, or just like the ideas that people had in their mind to create films, right? Like, think of nowadays, like technology, space travel, all that kind of stuff is what's in people's imaginations, because we haven't reached, like, there's still so much more stepping stones to reach in those areas. So that's where the imagination and the stories and creativity come from, in the influence that we have nowadays. Back then we had war, we had like, a lot of, oh my god, the word is slipping my mind, but a lot of like just unfairness, inequality. We had a lot of, that kind of stuff was on people's minds. So by capturing that and telling those stories and stuff, that's what they had to draw inspiration from. So again, if you can look at it in that way and go, yeah, that's wrong, but I can understand why those stories were made.
I mean, even like some, when I say old black and white films, like I'm talking like 40s and onwards, and 50s and 60s and stuff, I even now still struggle to watch them. But I mean, I feel like I've always kind of had a struggle, and I don't know, I haven't really pinpointed what it was. Like, there's a couple like I've like seeked out because I was like, oh, I really want to watch this. One was Strangers on a Train, I believe that's what it's called, because it was a CSI episode. It was like inspired the CSI episode and was like a big central theme of it, so I wanted to watch it to see like where it came from, kind of thing. Then I think, what was the other one with Audrey Hepburn? Whispers in the Dark, I think it's called. But again, that was because, although that one's definitely not black and white. It's an older film, but it's not black and white. And then I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh, a lot of the old Sherlock Holmes one with, what's his name? Razel Rathburn. And somebody else is Watson. I can't think of it right now. But those ones are also...
Okay.
And even, like, there's one we have, I think it's called the... Something Pearl. I can't remember what it's called. But I watched that one to death, but I really didn't understand it all the way. But again, I was like, I don't know. A lot of these films I watched probably too young, so I didn't have the attention span or, like, to understand like, oh, it's a mystery, and seeing like, okay, so this is how the structure of this works, you know. But yeah, even watching some older films, I have a hard time. And I mean, I don't know, like kind of like you said, like our attention spans are changing, so it could be that. I also find it a hard time.
Yeah, and you have different tastes too, right? Like, you know, and the idea isn't to force yourself to watch all these movies because you feel like you have to, because then if it turns into homework, you don't enjoy it, kind of thing, right? But if you can find the movies that like are of the same genre or similar like story interests that you have, or just in your taste and stuff like that, then you can kind of like find those movies that you
because I didn't mind Strangers on a Train. I thought it was very cool about two people who are like, we hate these people. I think it was their wives. I think so. And they were like joking like, oh, we should kill each other's wives because then like it's harder for them to figure out who it is because we're randos and there's no motive to link us back. And the one guy's like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And then the guy was like, no, I think it's just really funny. And then he ends up killing his wife. And he's like, I'm not going to fucking do that. And that's the whole thing of the movie. And that was kind of like what the episode was too, like, except it was two women. And of course, they what was it? They even found the guy in a showtime of Strangers in a Train. So it's very funny how they linked it all together. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's very cool. So yeah,
neat.
I think along the lines you're saying, like if you enjoy it or it's like something you're like, oh yeah, then it's a lot easier to watch. I mean, I guess it's the same with any media. If it becomes homework, then it's like,
right? And like I mean, props to, I mean, maybe there was a, you know, a specific itinerary our teachers were, you know, following towards in school and stuff like that, but I gotta say props to them for choosing the ones that they did, because at least it wasn't just all like old black and white films. It was just kind of like, okay, we're gonna show you these ones to start off, like here's how film became what it is, and now we're gonna move into like the Soviet montage type thing, and then we'll move into film noir, and then I keep hitting the mic. We'll move into film noir, and then we'll move into some movies that you guys might be familiar with, so like Star Wars and The Matrix and The Goodfellas, and like there was all those movies, like some of those movies we never had seen before, but now we're like big fans of because we got to watch them in film school, and we get more appreciation from them, right? Yeah, true. Well, when you have to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and then the teacher's like, all right, we're going to watch a movie. It's hard to keep you.
And it was dark and cold, and I was like, no, thank you. This is too much.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, is anyone going to hate me for this? Is it too weird that everyone's like, that's a great idea? I was like, yay.
It's also kind of neat too, like just now that we're talking about it, like even there's some movies too back in the day, like you can kind of when you hear about the story of like an actor or like some things that happened on set during the creation of the films, you can kind of go back and watch and kind of like, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but like kind of like dissect, you know, maybe where the character or the actor was like drawing inspiration from. For example, there's a movie called Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, with Betty Davis, and oh my goodness, I cannot remember the actress's name, but I will look at it quickly. Joan Crawford and Betty Davis. And so it's an old black and white movie about Betty Davis's character is like, she was a child star, a really famous child star when she was younger. And then as she grew up, she kind of like couldn't let go of wanting that fame, and so she just kind of lived her life thinking she was just always still this like great star, kind of like Sunset Boulevard in a way, almost, right? And so she kind of like just became very delusioned by it, and Joan Crawford plays her sister who's in a wheelchair, and the two of them live together, and so there's like this whole it's supposed to be a horror movie kind of thing, and so like at one point Betty Davis's character like snaps and she ends up like turning on her sister and like locking her in her room without food and like torturing her and all this kind of stuff because her sister kind of like was jealous of her, or she thought her sister was jealous of her and all the stardom that she had. And so there's like this really cool, it's a really, really great film, highly recommend it. But Ryan Murphy, the creator of American Horror Story and Glee, created a series called Feud, and one of the seasons was about Betty Davis and Joan Crawford on the set of that movie and how they actually didn't get along in real life. and so you can see like the tension between them in real life kind of matches almost the tension between them as their characters too. And so it's very interesting to like, it was a really cool show to watch that Ryan Murphy did, and then when you kind of go back and watch the original film, you can kind of be like, oh, that's what was going on like behind the scenes.
Interesting. I don't think I ever saw any promo for that show.
It was very quiet. They didn't really do much advertising for it, but I believe there are, let me see, I've got it here. There's 2 seasons, and yeah, the first season was all about Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and the second season, oh, maybe they didn't do a second season. They were supposed to, but yeah, because they were teasing it was going to be a couple of different, it was like a anthology series, kind of like American Horror Story, where it's a different thing every season. But yeah, it came out in 2017, and it was on FX, and yeah, I really liked it. It was really cool.
Weird.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of that, I don't remember what it's fucking called, but it had Jim Carrey in it, and it was like the behind the...
Man...
Yeah, and it was behind the scenes of him being in character of this guy. And it's like, wow, what a cool character study. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. That's always rubbed me the wrong way and makes me feel very uncomfortable. Especially, to be fair, I don't believe he did. And I mean, I could be absolutely wrong. I don't think he was like cruel to anybody on set, but it was just like, he was clearly very delusional about like, oh yeah, I am this person. And it's like, no, you're not. Like that to me, like, I don't know. Like I think it can be interesting to see like how, you know, actors use different methods to get into characters, but something just always rubbed me the wrong way when people are like, I just can't leave my work at home, or like I'm pretending to be this, or not even pretending, I am this person. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. That rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, okay. I think it was...
Yeah, something
right?
else at play.
I think, who was it? Robert Pattinson said something very interesting about that. He's like, I noticed a lot of the method actors, it's usually when they're fucking assholes. He's like, you can't... He's like, it doesn't excuse being an asshole. And I was like, damn, Robert Pattinson. I mean, I definitely watered down his quote. He did it way better with much better shade, but... I was like, that's oddly true.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because we had to work with people, and like when we had to do our independent projects, we had a couple people who were like, I'm in the character. And it's like, it just doesn't make for a nice time on set. I don't know. I just, again, run your sets how you want to run your sets, people. I don't really care, but... Who was it? We talked about this before. Not Richard Gere. No, not that guy. The guy who made Princess Diaries. I cannot think of his name. Thank you.
Gary Marshall.
Oh, so close and yet so far.
Yes.
You know,
close.
Like, if you're not having fun, like, what's the point? And it's like, it's like we're, you know, like, yes, there are times, you know, especially if you're like, you know, using a lot of effects or, you know, stunts. Like, obviously, there's a line of like, you need to be careful. Obviously, but you're creating magic essentially, so like why be a party pooper?
It's true,
basically.
I think, right? And that's why like Hollywood, I mean, is so toxic in so many ways, because it's such an ego thing, right? Like, and if you don't keep your ego in check, that's when you get kind of the asshole people, or just like these, you know, it becomes harder to work, or it just becomes a tough time on set when you've got like egos clashing, because you got, you know, the filmmaker wants to do a good job and this is their vision, but then the actor's like, well, this is my way, and blah blah blah. Like, we've been there, we've had those moments and stuff like that. But it's true. Like, we're literally, if you can remind yourself and kind of like bring yourself back down to earth and say, like, we're literally like Steven Spielberg says, I get to dream for a living. We get to make believe for a living. Like, let's just remember the core of what's happening here, right? Like, this isn't, we're not developing rocket ships. We're not surgeons. We're not saving lives. We're creating and making believe.
Especially when you have to do like long hours. And then it's like, oh, the turnaround. Oh, now you have to come back and like less than 4 hours sometimes, or something ridiculous. It's like, why not just have fun? But like you said, people are gonna be the way they are, but you know,
Yeah. But I think that's why, like, I have such appreciation for, like, because, like, I told you last time, like, Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling are doing a podcast talking about their experiences on Smallville, and, like, I've done some, research into, like, shows I like Supernatural, and hearing the boys talk about their experience on set, and for the most part, it's, like, no one ever felt forced to have to, like, do things they didn't want to do, as far as, like, staying long hours and stuff like that. Everybody was kind of on the same page. It was like, okay, well, we want to get this done. If we can get this done, like, we're going to be able to go home. So if everybody is, it's not like, kind of like, for example, let's just say someone like Stanley Kubrick, who's like, we need one more, we need one more, we need one more. No, don't argue me about this. We need one more, kind of thing, right? Like, there's a difference between kind of wearing a person down because you feel like you're going to get the authenticity out of them by doing it that way, and, like, being cruel to them, and then just someone being like, hey guys, like, if we can get this done now, like, we're all gonna go home, we're all gonna go to bed, and then we're gonna wake up fresh tomorrow, and it's gonna be great, kind of thing, right? So I always do applaud and feel better hearing about those types of film sets, and it just kind of makes you enjoy the end product much more, because you know that everybody was, in good headspaces. Everybody wanted to be there. Everybody wanted to do a good job. It wasn't like a person was being forced against their will, or being, like, tortured to death just to, like, get a performance out of them, kind of
and
thing,
hopefully, right? That's the direction we will continue to go to. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today's podcast.
That was quite the
right. You're like, I have a passion, and I was like, let's go, and then I was slowly falling asleep behind the wheel, and I was like, I am awake, I swear I'm awake, I swear. Oh gosh, I don't think I even have a recommendation for this week.
No.
I like Pokemon cards, so I've been watching Pokemon card openings, so do something like that. That's what I've been into this week. I've just been watching people open Pokemon cards, and it's fun.
Nice. And my recommendation will be in the theme of Comic-Con. Go watch David F. Sandberg's YouTube channel called Pony Smasher, where he makes videos of behind the scenes of the movies he's made, and he's done a few on Shazam, and they're pretty cool. Ooh. He kind of, like, breaks down some of the scenes that they did and why he did them the way he did, and it's kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, cinema peeps, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Sorry I'm sleeping behind the wheel. If you want to leave us a like and a comment, that would be much appreciated. Did you guys know Comic-Con was happening? We certainly didn't.
No, well, yeah. Were we the only ones in that boat? Let us know.
Right? And also, consider subscribing to two silly gals who just talk in front of their cameras all day.
Yeah, and if you liked this episode, go back and check out some of our other episodes as well. We have a lot of fun times talking and movies and yes. Okay, we need to cut this because we need to wrap this up now. All right, this is just becoming a mess.
We got this. Anyway, cinema peeps, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Monkey.